Hello, Sibs. Good to have you here with me today. How are
Hello,
you?
Jay. Bit anxious, nervous, and good.
Awesome, awesome. So, welcome to everyone who's watching. We thought we would do an impromptu live today, really having a look about why you should choose a practice that supports calm for you. So, whatever that is, that really would support your nervous system to calm down. These days, we are very overwhelmed. Technology itself is overwhelming, all the different platforms that people are on. Never mind what's going on in your life, what's going on at work, what's going on in your relationships. So there's so much stimulation in our environment that can be very overwhelming, very stimulating to the nervous system. And what I thought would be great for Sibs and I to talk about is really having a look at different types of practices that you can do to support the nervous system to become less stimulated. And there's so many benefits to that. So, Sibs, do you want to share a little bit about yourself just so that the people watching know who you are?
Okay, so I'm Sibylle. I'm a German living in South Africa. I've been here since 1989, so over 30 years. I'm not counting anymore. And I'm a consciousness coach. I am a time to think coach and facilitator. I work with the Enneagram. And during lockdown, I've actually added Yin Yoga accreditation to my coaching toolbox. So I'm also a Yin Yoga teacher, which is why I'm here today with you to tell you about that practice.
Yes. Yes, so Sibylle and I have done many workshops together. We ran in lockdown initially in 2020. We ran numerous workshops for people to support them at that time to really deal with what was going on. We run Enneagram workshops together. Absolutely love them and helping people discover their Enneagram number. So, for myself, I'm Jade, if you don't know me, and I'm an expert consciousness coach, transformational trainer, and TRE provider. So, today I'm talking about with Sibylle TRE. She's talking about yin yoga. These are the two practices that we do that support us in terms of our nervous system. And really, we're just going to talk about the practice, what it is. So, Sibylle will mention yin yoga and really what's involved in that. And I'll talk about TRE just to give you an idea of what to expect, especially if you're stepping into either of these two practices, or what to have a look out for in terms of finding something, a routine that will support you. Because for me, I think what's the most important thing is really finding something that works for you. So, Sibs, what did you like about yin yoga? What drew you to yin yoga?
So what drew me to Yin Yoga is the calming effect on my nervous system that I've observed. You know, I've been practicing yoga for many years, and once in a while, my teacher would do a Yin practice with me. I didn't quite know. I mean, yoga has always been very good for my mind. It centers me, it focuses me, and it gets me very present. And in Yin Yoga, you actually hold poses. So you need to be still for anything from 1 minute to 20 minutes. So in the beginning, I was quite restless, and then eventually it's like a penny dropping, and I got it, and it was the effect on my nervous system, the calmness. Like I could now, I just the minute I enter the mat, it becomes a sacred space, and you can literally feel the effect on the nervous system.
Yes.
That's what drew me to that.
Okay. And what have you seen as an experience with your clients, that the benefits that they receive from it?
The same thing. They come in, sometimes they come in, like I teach at a gym now, and they come in, they don't really know what they're coming in for. So they come in very yang, like I've done Monday morning, 6:15 fill in. So now these people are hardcore. They are hardcore people coming Monday morning, 6:15 to gym. And then they understand it's a different kind of practice. It's slowing down. You come into the position, you resolve to remain still, and you hold the pose for time. And you see at the end of the practice, like 45 minutes to an hour, they're all on a different cloud. They've calmed down. You can literally see it. It's quite amazing.
Yes. I can imagine. And definitely, I remember that story that you told me when you had to do that class and what you were concerned about it being the start to the week. But what an amazing start to the week. If you actually think about it, how different it could be, instead of thinking that you need that normal adrenaline boost to get yourself going, but actually starting from a place of calm and maybe more put together than what you think it would be.
Exactly. So they entered the week with a calm nervous system. It's
Yes.
quite amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. So with TRE, I just see we've got a LinkedIn user. It's not showing me the name, but they've said overwhelm is overwhelming. And absolutely, that's the thing, is that you then get stuck in that cycle of constant overwhelm, or being overwhelmed by being overwhelmed. And how do you actually calm yourself down? What do you put in place in your life that supports you to come out of that? Because what actually happens with the nervous system, we have two parts, the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system, and they both play a different role for us in our lives. The sympathetic is there, it increases heart rate, blood pressure, respiration. So that's when you can have like your adrenaline kicking in. And the parasympathetic is there to decrease the heart rate, decrease blood pressure, decrease respiration. So really to bring you back down from a trigger point of something that's happened. And when we are too overwhelmed, when we've been too stressed for too long, the nervous system battles to regulate itself. So it can't come back into balance, which means that we could get stuck on one of the two spectrums. And then that means that we potentially are not able to manage stress correctly or efficiently. And that's when we start to feel the overwhelm. So really finding a practice that supports you to start to regulate the nervous system, and TRE, which is trauma release exercises. Also, it's a different from yin yoga, different type of practice. Also, no talking required. It is all about the physical body, where you go through a set of exercises. The provider will take you through a set of exercises, and from there you lie on the floor, and we activate what's called the neurogenic tremor in the body. And that tremoring process actually supports the muscles to release the contractions that they have, where they've actually stored stress. And from doing that, it starts to regulate the nervous system. And so, like you, I've also seen with the clients that I've had, improved sleep. That's a big one. Having improved sleep patterns. I've noticed my clients saying that they're much calmer when they're dealing with more stressful situations. They're actually able to process information and make decisions a lot clearer. Have you had any specifics as well from the yin yoga practice coming out?
So the evening classes, people, they look forward to that class because Tuesday, I do like an online thing on a Tuesday, and that is best night of the week in terms of sleep for those participants, the regular participants. And what I also find, it becomes a training of what we would call non-identification with the mind. So you know, I keep on bringing them back into the breath, and I remember years ago people used to tell me, just focus on your breathing. I said, what they were talking about, but it's a gateway into the body, and it's a presencing tool, and you learn to actually, it gets you ready for motivation in that it trains you through the physical movement also to stop focusing, engaging with the mind. You're coming into the body.
Yeah.
And I've also experienced, I had like lots of problems with the shoulders and hips. And through this practice of gentle pressure on the joints and that lubrication, after a minute of holding, synovial fluid gets released into the joint and you start lubricating the joints. So I feel that this has helped me with hip issues, with shoulder issues. I really feel it's coming from this practice.
Well, that's one of the things, is when the nervous system isn't regulating correctly, it has such an impact on the overall health of our physical body.
Mm.
So never mind just the immune system, but then what happens is the fascia also starts to dehydrate. And it becomes harder. The fascia is really supposed to be flexible. It's supposed to support you with your flexibility. And injuries happen then once with a dehydrated fascia. So, and I can just imagine that yin yoga really supports that flexibility, that movement, getting the fascia back into a healthier state, same as what the TRE does, which then really starts to help those older injuries, help the flexibility, because also the psoas muscle is is like a big stress muscle in our body, which sits there in the hip area. So if we're able to work with that and really look after it, then we will be much healthier, more flexible, and not experience those aches and cramps and pains that we tend to get, especially when we're stressed.
Or when we get older, after menopause. In
I
my
didn't want to
case,
say that.
getting older, it's the wear and tear to really start looking after the whole body, not just stimulating muscle, also working and stretching like the orthodontic braces, like gentle
Yes,
pressure on the hard tissues.
yeah. I think
And
it's
Jade,
important. Yes,
you mentioned something interesting, that the pain or the trauma gets stored in certain areas in the body.
yes,
So I had a friend being hijacked and couldn't move her neck for couldn't move. And I said to her, you know what, I think you must go do TRE. And she did. And it
yeah,
helped. So I mean, you putting this now, you actually it released her neck.
yeah.
Because
And
I said
that's,
to her, it's all the fear, all the trauma is stuck in that neck now.
yeah.
Couldn't move.
Yeah, because
What
it's
do you
where
say to that?
it's where you experience the trauma at the time. So there can be many ways, because the fight flight freeze mechanism is triggered, it's activated in a certain event, and if we suppress that, or we get stuck in that response, then it gets stored in our physical body. And not a lot of people are aware of that it actually starts to, and the interesting thing is that if you see somebody lying on a mat, like one of your yoga mats, and the feet are flopped out to the side, quite low to the ground, that is indicative of a freeze response in the lower part of the body. So what happens is the freeze response can actually cause flaccidity in the muscles. I hope I've said that correctly. So that we lose the strength in our muscles from being stuck in a response, which is also one of the great ways. So not only getting into, so Sibylle and I are both coaches and in various different methodologies, and there's great benefit in going through a coaching process, in engaging in any type of practice where it's talking and dealing with the mind and the thinking, but dealing with the physical body as an additional part just adds a whole new level to your healing process, because you're actually then dealing with you as a whole. We have 4 bodies, which is the physical body, the mental body, the emotional body, and the spiritual body. And so often we look after the mental body or the emotional body in terms of an event that has happened, not always taking into consideration the complete impact on our physical body. So, like a hijacking, it might be a natural thing to go and talk about the event and not actually deal with the physical impact of what that event did. So, really becoming aware that your physical body takes impact, even if you get a fright, even if somebody jumps out as a joke and you get a fright, that has an impact on your physical body. It has an impact on your nervous system. Watching TV, watching violence on TV has an impact on your nervous system. And if we're not taking that into consideration, that's just getting stored. So really getting into some type of practice that supports that regulation is, for me, one of the most important things. Reported benefits from TRE itself is less worry and anxiety, increased energy, being able to handle relationship as well. You have improved relationships because you don't have that stress all the time, or you're not able to manage the stress. And when you start to look after this, you see all of this starting to change in your life. And for you, Sib, you've mentioned that there were 3 things with regards to yin yoga. What are those 3 things?
Okay, so there are the 3 principles that are identified by Sarah Powers. So that's coming into position at your own appropriate depth. So that means anyone can do this. Okay, if you can lean forward a tiny bit, that's okay. Trust that you'll work the meridians, the fascia, the prana, chi, life force energy, the joints, everything will be stimulated. So it doesn't have to be Instagram yoga. I've got ladies in my group, I think the one is well over 70. She said her knee's aching, but she's actually doing so well. So always at your own personal point of resistance. And that's the first principle. The second principle is resolving to remain still, like you commit to that stillness. And that's what people struggle with at the beginning. I see them a bit restless. So that stillness of the body, stillness of the breath, stillness of the mind. And then the third one is holding the pose for, as I said, anything between 1 to 20 minutes. So in yin yoga, when I say go deeper into the pose, it means let's hold it longer. We're going to be another minute here. Okay, so the longer we hold, the more benefit, the more lubrication, physical benefit. So we target hard connective tissues. We work with hips, pelvis, the lower spine, all the joints, knees, shoulders. It's also it's a joint workout, and it's an energetic workout. So in Western medicine, we talk about the fascia. So we're working with energy traveling along the fascia. In traditional Chinese medicine, we mention the meridians, the energy highways, and in Eastern medicine, it's unleashing, balancing energy along the nadis and chakras. So it's a physical, mental, and energetic workout.
Beautiful. And you said something interesting as well. I just want to go back to what you said earlier about getting out the mind. It's so easy for the mind to take over and try and explain or justify, and I noticed the same, in the TRE process when the tremor kicks in, the mind trying to explain what is this strange event that's happening in its body. And when we just trust this natural process of what is going on for us in the physical body, is when we can just resolve and heal a lot of pain and trauma. So it's really, this, I think what I love about both practices is that getting out of the mind. And something that I experienced myself in doing my TRE practice is creativity coming back. When we've been in stress for so long, you might find yourself saying, I have to start feeling creative. I just, I need to put the time aside and then the creativity will come, but it doesn't. And when you start to regulate the nervous system, I remember my trainer saying to me, because I said to her, I just have so many ideas and they're just popping up and I don't know what to do with them and where they're coming from. And she said to me, well, Jay, that's your brain coming back online. And I'll never forget that, because I think we think it's like a phase, But unfortunately, when we are so stressed out, it's like that part of us switches off. And when we step into a practice that can calm us down, that can support us to regulate properly, then you'll realize that that is actually not normal. It's not just a phase. It was gone for however long it was gone. But when you get into that practice of really regulating yourself, and then you can step back into the creativity. That was a very important thing for me. I didn't realize actually that the impact that stress can have in terms of creativity. So if I haven't seen any questions come up, so if there is anything else, so do you want to share anything else important? Where can people find you? Share a little bit about if they wanted to get information on your yin yoga class that you have online, what do they do?
Well, they can contact me on LinkedIn. They'll find me on LinkedIn, social media. I post a lot on Instagram about different the meridians and different information about the yin yoga, because each meridian, each organ is connected to emotional wellness and emotional harmonizing. How can they get hold of me? On my website also. All contact details are on my website, which is
And your website is? Yeah.
it's www.sibylle, my first name, .co.za.
Fantastic. Great. And your online class, you said, is a Tuesday night?
Tuesday night, it's usually 6 p.m. In April, we've changed it to 7 p.m. So it's an evening class. It's a
Okay.
rest and restore, rest and digest, getting ready for bed class.
Okay, and that's GMT plus 2 times, so it's South African time for anyone watching. For myself, you're welcome to DM me on LinkedIn or find me on my website, www.jadecoaching.co.za. If you want to find out more about the TRE practice, I also am able to do online sessions. Please, if you've watched this at any point in time and you have any questions, you're welcome to contact either Sibylle or myself via LinkedIn, and we'll gladly answer any questions you might have and support in any way that we can. So thank you for watching, and until next time.
Thank you.